company went into liquidation with the following liabilities. Secured creditors rupees 20,000. Secured creditors and the security realized is 25,000. 20,000 is the value which we have to pay to the creditor. But we have realized 25,000. So 5,000, 20,000 will be taken by the creditor and 5,000 will be returned back to the liquidator during the liquidation process. Then next preferential creditor is 6,000. Next unsecured creditors 30,500. Next liquidators out of pocket expenses is 252. The liquidator is entitled to a remuneration of 3% on amount realized and 1.5% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. Now, the various assets excluding securities in hands of the secured creditors. Here, the amount realized is 25,000. 5,000 is left with us. So, that is excluded. Excluding securities in the hands of secured creditors, fully realized value is 26,000. So, how much is the amount available with us now? This 26,000 plus 5,000 which we received from securities. So, 26,000 plus 5,000 total amount available is 31,000. Now, calculate liquidators remuneration. To calculate liquidators remuneration, just follow the question. What all instructions are given? Liquidators remuneration is equals to first 3% on amount realized. 3% on amount realized plus 1.5%. So this will be 1.5% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors, paid to unsecured creditors. Here preferential creditors are also given. Preferential creditors also are unsecured creditors. So 1.5% on preferential creditors and 1.5% on unsecured creditors. Both you have to take. So 1.5% paid to preferential and plus 1.5% on amount paid to unsecured creditors. So now 3% on asset realized. So how much is the amount of amount realized? How much is the actual amount realized? Here actual amount realized is 26,000. So 3% on 26,000 plus 1.5% amount paid to preferential creditors. Preferential creditors 6,000. So 1.5% of 6,000 plus 1.5% amount paid to unsecured creditors. Basically, to pay to unsecured creditors, first we paid liquidators remuneration, liquidators expenses, and we clear off all the creditors, and finally we paid to unsecured creditors depending upon the amount available with us. So first we have to check whether we have some amount left or not. Is our company insolvent or solvent? That we have to calculate. So this part in the working notes. First we check with that, then we substitute the value here. Clear? So now first amount available. Total amount available. How much is the amount realized from assets? It is 26,000. So 26,000 plus 5,000 which is realized against securities. So 5,000. So total amount available with us is rupees 31,000. Clear? Next, from this deduct all the payment. Then we will come to know how much is the amount available with us. Now minus payments. So first we pay to liquidator. So liquidator's remuneration. So excluding this unsecured creditors, we have to take these two amounts. Okay, 3% on 26,000 and 1.5% of 6,000. So this right as it is 1.5% on unsecured creditors. This after working out, then we will take this value. So 3% on 26,000 will be how much? 780. And 1.5% of 6,000 is rupees 90 plus So these two amounts we have to take under liquidators remuneration. Okay. So 3% of asset realized, which is 780, plus 1.5% of preferential creditors, amount paid to preferential creditors, which is rupees 90, which is equals to 870 rupees, right? Next we have, here he says liquidators out of pocket expenses amounted to rupees 252. Out of pocket expenses paid. So that is liquidators expenses. Liquidators expenses is how much? Rupees 257. Then what payment we will do? After making payment to liquidators remuneration and liquidators expenses, we pay first to preferential creditors because they have preferential rate. So first, then preferential creditors, which is rupees, preferential creditors is rupees 6,000 rupees. Add these three, how much we get? 6,000 plus 257 plus 870, we'll get total 7,120. Clear? So 31,000 from total amount available. First, immediately we have to make payment, which is we have to distribute this amount, that is 7,122. So how much will be the amount available after distributing this? We will be left out with rupees 23,878. So this is the amount available. Finally, we are left out with 23,878. After this, compare the unsecured amount, unsecured creditors amount. How much we have to pay to unsecured creditors? 30,500. So, we have only 23,878, but we have to pay to unsecured creditors 30,500. So, this amount is less than the unsecured creditors. So, when this is less than unsecured creditors, then we say company is insolvent. Clear? Therefore, amount to be paid or to be distributed to unsecured creditors is equals to rupees 30,500. Since this amount is less, we say the company is insolvent. If the company is insolvent, how do we calculate liquidators remuneration? We have a different formula. When company is insolvent. So when company is insolvent, we have to take this formula. Liquidators remuneration is equals to amount available into rate by 100 plus rate. How much is the amount available with us? 23,000. 23,878 plus rate. Here for unsecured creditors rate is 1.5%. So 1.5 by 100 plus 1.5. 23,878 into 1.5 by 100 plus 1.5, we'll get 23,878 into 1.5 by 100 plus 1.5, you'll get 101.5. If we simplify, we get rupees 353. Okay, 353 is the amount. So this you have to include in liquidators remuneration. See, already 3% on amount realized we have calculated, which is 780, and 1.5% on amount paid to preferential creditors, which is 90, and 1.5% on amount paid to unsecured creditors, just now we have calculated, which is 353. Clear? So 353. This amount will take here. So we get total remuneration as 1,223. So therefore, liquidators remuneration is equals to rupees 1,223. The liquidator of a company which is in voluntary liquidation is entitled for a remuneration of 3% on the amount realized. Okay. And in the bracket he gave excluding cash in hand, and 2% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. Now, what all information is given? Unsecured creditors is 1,60,000. Debenture holder 1,05,000. Next, liquidation expenses is 2,000. Cash in hand is given separately 4,000. Assets realized is 3,20,000. So total cash available with us is 3,20,000 plus 4,000. So 3,24,000 is the total amount available with us. Now find out liquidators remuneration. So with the amount available, we first pay liquidators remuneration, then we deduct liquidation expenses, then we deduct the debenture holder 1,05,000, then finally we pay to unsecured creditors. So will we have sufficient amount to pay to unsecured creditors or not? That we have to check. Then we calculate the liquidators remuneration. So first, liquidators remuneration is equals to, as per the question, liquidators remuneration is equal to 3% on amount realized. 3% on, or else here I'll write 3% on amount realized plus, and 2% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. 2% of the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. So 3% on amount realized. How much is assets? Assets realized 3,20,000. 3,20,000. So 3% of 3,20,000. Here clearly he mentioned excluding cash in hand. So we have to exclude while calculating remuneration. So exclude cash in hand. We have 3,20,000. So 3% of 3,20,000 plus 2% of the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. This we have to check whether the company is solvent or not, whether the company is able to pay this 1,60,000 or not, that you have to check. So for this working, so let us check whether the company is solvent enough to pay this 1,60,000 to unsecured creditors or not. After that, we can calculate liquidators remuneration. Clear? So first, total amount available. We assets realized is 3,20,000 plus 4,000 cash in hand. So total 3,24,000. Clear? Now from this deduct payments. First we make payment to liquidator. So liquidators remuneration. Liquidation expenses is also given as 2,000. Deduct liquidation expenses also. So liquidators remuneration, first we have calculated 3% of 3,20,000. How much is 3% of 3,20,000? It is 9,600. Clear? 9,600. So 3,20,000 into 3%. We get 9,600. Next, liquidation expenses, which is rupees 2,000. Then next we pay to preferential creditors if it is given. Here preferential creditors are not given in this question, but debenture holders are given, which is 1,05,000. Take debenture holders, which is rupees 1,05,000. Add this and deduct from 3,24,000. 9,600 plus 2,000 plus 1,05,000, we get rupees 1,16,600. So 3,24,000 minus 1,16,600, we get rupees 2,07,400. So this is the amount available. Therefore, available with us is 2,70,400. Now, how much we are due to unsecured creditors? It is 1,60,000. We have 2 lakhs. So, we can pay, right? So, therefore, amount due to unsecured creditors is rupees 1,60,000. Therefore, company is solvent. When the company is solvent, liquidators remuneration will be equal to amount due to unsecured creditors into rate by 100. Now, liquidators remuneration equals to amount due to unsecured creditors into rate by 100. Amount due to unsecured creditors. How much is the amount due to unsecured creditors? Which is 1,60,000. 1,60,000 into rate. How much is the rate here? 2% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors. 2%. So rate is 2%. So 2 by 100. So 1,60,000 into 2% will be rupees 3,200. So first we have to check whether the company is solvent or not. Depending upon that, the formula will be. So 3,200. So 3,200 we will include along with 3% of amount realized. So this is 3,200. So 9,600 plus 3,200. See, 3% of amount realized is 9,600 and 2% of amount distributed to unsecured creditors, which we have calculated just now, 3,200. So 9,600 plus 3,200 will get rupees 12,800. So therefore, liquidator's remuneration is 12,800. LT Limited went into liquidation with the following information. See, preferential creditors are given as 15,000, then unsecured creditors 48,000, debenture holders 15,000, and assets realized. The amount realized from the assets after selling assets is 79,300. Now liquidation expenses is given as 2,000. So the liquidator is entitled to the remuneration of 2 1 by 2. So that is 2.5, 2.5 on the amount realized and 3% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. So first calculate the liquidator's remuneration and find out whether the company is solvent enough to pay the unsecured creditors, pay to unsecured creditors. So first, as per the question, liquidator's remuneration is equals to 2.5 on the amount realized. So 2.5% on the amount realized plus 3% on amount distributed to the unsecured creditors. Here, preferential creditors are also given. So 3% on preferential creditors and then 3% on unsecured creditors. The amount, this unsecured creditors depends upon the amount available with us. So 3% on amount paid to preferential creditors plus 3% on the amount due to unsecured creditors. So 2.5% on amount realized. How much is the amount realized? 79,300 plus 3% on amount paid to preferential creditors. Here, how much is the amount paid to preferential creditors? 15,000. First priority will be given to preferential creditors. So 3% of 15,000 plus keep this as it is. After doing the working notes, we will do 3% on amount due to unsecured creditors. First, we have to find out whether the company is solvent enough to pay to unsecured creditors or not. Clear? So, 2.5% of 79,200 is 1,983 plus 3% of 15,000 is 450 and plus, hold on, after doing the working notes, we will calculate this. Clear? First, let us check the company, whether the company is solvent to pay to unsecured creditors. First, total amount available or total amount realized from assets. Assets realized is 79,300. Total of assets realized is rupees 79,300. From this, after we realize the assets, we start making payments. So, minus payments. Clear? First, we begin with liquidator's remuneration. Liquidator's remuneration. Now, How much is the liquidator's remuneration? Still now we did not calculate. Except this unsecured creditors, remaining two values we can take 1983 plus 450. So 1983 plus 450. How much we get? We get 2433. Next, liquidators expenses. Liquidators expenses is given as 2000. Liquidation expenses rupees 2000. After this, we have preferential creditors. First priority will be given to the preferential creditors, which is 15,000. Is 15,000. Then next we have debenture holders also. Next payment will be for debenture holders. So add this and deduct from 79,300. So 2,433 plus 2,000 plus 15,000 plus 15,000 we get rupees 34,433. So 79,300 minus 34,433 we get rupees 44,867. So therefore amount available is 44,867. So now let us check whether the company is solvent or not. Now here unsecured creditors is 48,000. We have to pay 48,000, but the amount available with us is 44,867. So the company is insolvent to pay back the unsecured creditors. So amount due to unsecured creditors. Unsecured creditors is rupees 48,000. So therefore company is insolvent. Okay. So when the company is insolvent, which formula we use to calculate liquidators remuneration? Amount available into rate by 100 plus rate. Clear? So now calculate liquidators remuneration. Amount available into rate by 100 plus rate. How much is amount available? 44,867. 44,867 into rate. How much is the rate here? Here 3% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditors. So 3% is the rate. So 3 by 100 plus 3. Now 44,867 into 3 by 103. So if we calculate, we get rupees 1,307. So this we will include here. So 3% on amount due to unsecured creditor is 1,307. So 1,307. So how much we get? 1,983 plus 450 plus 1,370. How much we get? We get 3,740. Liquidators remuneration is 3,740.